Hi everybody, welcome to Epic Game Time. My name's Justin, and I wanted to bring you Paradoxical Storm in Standard. Now, I know a lot of you have seen many different versions of this deck. This particular deck is one I have been working on for the last couple days, and it's a list that was actually given to me by one of my viewers on stream. I am a toaster, and he's on Twitch. You can message him if you want to know more about the list, why he does it. I know he plays it in real life, but I have had success. I have 2 4-1 finishes in a competitive league with this deck. This thing is hot fire and it's quite sweet. So let's go over the decks. First, the lands. We have 1 Gear Reach Sanatorium. This Gear Reach Sanatorium, honestly, it's just there for a little extra draw. There are some times where we sort of fizzle out, or we maybe don't draw a Reverse Engineer, don't draw the Prophetic Prism, and we draw a bunch of our 0-cost spells. This will hopefully help us, gives us another outlet to just draw into the stuff we need. Inventor's Fair, obviously 4 tap, sacrifice Inventor's Fair, search your library for an artifact, reveal it, put it into your hand. Well, and of course you have to have 3 more artifacts, which is not hard for this deck. What this does is lets us go get a Walking Ballista. Mainly, though, it's to go get Aetherflux Reservoir. That's the main idea for this. Then we're going to be running 18 islands, so the land base, not very expensive. Next, we have our 0-cost artifacts. That is 4 Bone Saws, 4 Cathar Shields, and 4 Ornithopters. This is our storm. This is how we storm. Is we have a bunch of 0-cost artifacts that we can just play out. And honestly, I've had a couple games where I've won by just swinging with a 2 or 3 cost, like a 3/5 Ornithopter. Had a couple Bone Saws, had a couple Cathar Shields, equipped them up, and just got to swinging. Then we have our 4 Prophetic Prisms. That is great for our card draw, and it's another cheap artifact that we can bounce back to our hand and replay. Metallic Rebuke, a great counter, really fun to have. Not a lot of people expect it, so a lot of people will play right into it, especially because it has Improvise. Improvise is we can tap artifacts for the colorless mana to play that spell. We have our Engulf the Shore. Return to their owner's hands all creatures with toughness less or equal to the number of islands you control. Well, all we're really playing is islands, minus 2 lands. So, Engulf the Shore usually hits everything. It's a great board reset, and it lets us bounce our Ornithopters back to our hand as well. So that's important. Paradoxical Outcome, return any number of target non-land, non-token permanents we control to our hands. Draw a card for each card returned that way. So, this is sort of how we're going to storm. So, we have a bunch of 0-cost artifacts, or 2-cost artifacts. What we're going to do is play Paradoxical Outcome, and bounce all them all back to our hand, and then draw that many cards. So, let's say we have an Ornithopter, 2 Bone Saws, and a Cathar Shield out. Well, that's 4 cards. Paradoxical Outcome for 4, bounce 4 cards, draw 4 cards. Then we can play... Maybe we draw into some more 0-cost, maybe we draw into another Prophetic Prism, and then we play all that out again. Here is the payoff for Storm. Let me actually display this one. The payoff for Storm is Aetherflux Reservoir. It's a 4-cost. Whenever you cast a spell, gain 1 life for each spell you cast this turn. So, if I had Aetherflux in play, I cast Bone Saw. I gain a life. I cast Ornithopter. I gain 2 life. That's additional to the 1, so I've gained 3 life so far this turn. Then I cast a Cathar Shield. Well, that's our 3rd spell, so we gain 3 life. And then it just goes from there. So we constantly combine our life. So after 3, so we play 3 0-cost spells. That's 1, that's 3, and then 6. So we've gained 6 life for playing 3 0-cost spells. Well, our goal with all this life gain is to pay 50 life. We get up to over 50 life. We pay 50 life, and then Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player. So we kill our opponent. So build up a storm of life, and then attack our opponent, and then deal 50 damage to our opponent. That is how we do it. We're running 3 Aetherflux Reservoirs. So we want to get 1 or 2 out, and that really, if we get 2 out, I've never lost with 2 out. That is really hard. It's really hard for our opponent to get out from under that kind of value. So we have Reverse Engineer, 2 with 2 in the 3 colorless with Improvise. So we can tap those artifacts to draw 3 cards. And drawing 3 obviously gets us into our 0 cost, our Prophetic Prisms. We have Crush the Tentacles. This is just another win condition. We can play a 0 cost artifact and then Surge. So 3 and 2 blue return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. If Crush the Tentacles Surge cost was paid, create an 8/8 blue octopus creature token. This is an awesome way to deal with decks that remove our Aetherflux Reservoirs, or had an answer to it, or let's say we just didn't draw it. Well, here's our other win condition. Big old 8/8 blue octopus. That's pretty good. Word of Invention. Well, that helps us. Let's say I need a 0 cost to really get going, or let's say I need a second Aetherflux, or I need the first one. Word of Invention is just a great card that goes and searches for it, puts it in play. And then, of course, 2 Walking Ballistas. Honestly, these are the one card in here that it could be anything else. These are our flex spot. I like them personally because I like how they deal with Mardu vehicles. There are some creatures in Mardu vehicles that have that 1 toughness. Walking Ballista deals with them very nicely. Same with zombies. It does deal with certain aggro decks quite nicely, so that's great. Glorybound, Glorybound Initiate. Walking Ballista handles that quite nicely. Not to mention, it can be a 0 cost artifact for Aetherflux Reservoir Storm. So that is the main board. The sideboard, pretty simple. 2 dispels, 2 turn-asides. Turn-asides are really cool. One, because counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. So if we're going against a deck with green in it, we always want to bring Turn-Aside in to counter those naturalizes of type effects. Essence Scatter, of course, if we're going against like energy decks or decks that have a bunch of creatures coming down, we have our negates and our disallows. Basic control. We have another Crush the Tentacles in case we're going against a pretty hardcore aggro deck. This one I like the most, though. 2 Bastion Inventors. Now, I know a lot of people are like, Bastion Inventor? Why is that common in your deck? Well, first, it has Improvise. So we can get it out on turn 3, turn 4, right around the time most control players will tap kind of low. For their beginning to take over the game move. So, if you're playing against red-blue, someone will tap low. We can sneak a Bastion Inventor under the radar or with a Metallic Rebuke or whatever. Once Bastion Inventor is on the board against like a red-blue deck, they have no way of dealing with it. It is a 4/4 hexproof that we can then put Bone Saws on, Cathar Shields on. It's just going to be there. All their targeted removal just does not deal with it. So it is so good. It's such a good card, and I have yet to lose a red-blue matchup when Bastion Inventor has resolved. If it hits the board, that's almost game. Cathar Shield makes it so that it can just sit there and block Torrential Gearhulks all day. Bone Saws make it a very formidable attack. That's 5 damage. Alright, so your opponent has 4 turns to try to either block and or deal with your Bastion Inventor. It's just a really, really sweet card. I don't think it's all that good in like certain aggro matchups because let's be honest, a 4/4 is not the most impressive thing. But if we're going against control, we can take out some of our combo-ish spells. Like we don't need Crush of Tentacles, we don't need Engulf the Shore. We can add some control and we can add Bastion Inventor in and really start grinding away on our opponent. Well, that is the Paradoxical Storm deck in Standard. If you guys like what you saw, hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the deck, go ahead and ask me down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Maybe you have a different version. Love to hear it. And I will be back again with more deck techs and other cool things from Magic the Gathering. My name is Justin from Epic Game Time. You all have been my epic viewers. I hope you all do something epic today. Bye.